What was your motivation for getting into the recovery space?
Wow, what was my motivation? My life. I led a chaotic life, man.
Where you
Yeah,
from?
I'm from Sligo originally, like, and then I lived in Sligo till 2004. But from like, so I ended up once I hit 18, the judge sent me to prison. They had enough. He had enough of me. Like he was like, "No, I'm done. Like you've had all the juvenile liaison officers, you've had all the diversion schemes, you've had all the community based anything you're going to get now. You've kind of this is it." So they sent me down to Castlereagh at the age of 18, and sure, like it wasn't really prison. Like look, it was not that it wasn't really prison. How to put this? Like I shit myself going in the gates. Don't get me wrong. My first time going into a prison system, I shit myself. But I adapted to it fairly quickly. And then when I came back up, the judge could see that I was just a Jack the lad, and he's like, "Right, yeah, that's not working. We're sending you to St. Pat's." I was like, "Oh shit!" Like this is this. I grew up with stories of St. Patrick's Institution, like and what they did to the likes of me, who was a culture coming up from Sligo from the west, and oh man, like I had horror stories of that place. And that was like, uh-oh, here we go. Like I'm heading to Dublin. I'm heading to an institution in Dublin. Shit. And yeah, just pardon my French, but yeah, look, it was that's what happened. And then I went from there to the training unit in 2004, and I got out of the training unit in 2004, and I just legged it. I was gone. I'm out of here. Like I'm done. I can't keep doing this. And I went over to Scotland, and sure, the only thing that changed with me going to Scotland was I just changed area, really. That was it. I was still the same person, I still the same mentality. If anything, I got worse. I had no responsibility, no accountability, no family, no worries, no stress that anything could come back on. Like and I had no one looking at me, you know what I mean? No one like so when I was in Ireland, I kind of had that. Oh, I don't want to let people down, or when I was over there, I was just. It was like a dog let off the lead, like it just ran riot. And sure, just the same thing happened. By 2005, I was in prison in Scotland, and then I got out in '06. I was back in prison. I got out of prison in '07, and I came back here. And again, the same thing. I came back here heavily addicted to cocaine, and I got involved in criminality, got involved in the trade, and ran up serious debts because I wasn't like I was my own best customer who didn't pay myself. I just sniffed a lot of cocaine, and then I got caught up in Operation Clean Street. Well, I don't know if you remember that. It was an operation to get rid of dealers around the area when they sent in um, undercover Gardaí. Anyway, I got caught up in that and I decided I'm done now. I've had enough of this. I'm going again. And I left again. I just legged it again. And I went back to Scotland. And that cycle continued until 2019, until 2021. But 2019 was the last time I was in a prison system in Scotland. Sure, I did all the prison systems in Scotland. I went from Craig Inches in Aberdeen, it's gone now. I was in Saughton in Edinburgh. I was in Grampian Supermax up in Peterhead. I was in Berlini. That's kind of where I spent the majority of my time in Berlini prison, and that's the last prison I was in over there. And yeah, it's
What's
just
the
look.
differences? What's the differences and similarities between the Irish prison system and the Scottish?
Whew, depends on which prison you're in, right? So
Mm.
the
There's a
older prison.
similar type of a regime, like
Oh yeah,
lockdown and
yeah,
lock in and yard and school and gym and things.
yeah. Depending on the prison, right? So the newer prisons, like I'll take it. So Grampian Prison is a newly built prison, right? So you have a shower in your cell, you've got your TV in your cell, you've got a decent kit, like you've got a decent cell, you've got a good space in comparison to the old Victorian style, cramped in two people on top of each other. And then in there you've got your education unit, you've got your gym, you've got a good sized yard, you've got a lot of activities, you've got a lot of opportunity, you've got a lot of courses. There's a lot going on. If you want to better yourself and you want to change, they have a lot of opportunity for you. Um, so that's a newer style prison, right? But then you've got Berlini. Berlini is an old Victorian style prison. That that's two people on top of each other with cockroaches sharing the bed. Like that's what that place is. That's an old shower block down the bottom of the wing. There's
Like a
no
Mountjoy.
yeah, exactly. It's exactly like a Joy or like a Pats or like an old style prison. Like you know what I mean? And there's mostly 23-hour lockup in the place. because there is no opportunities. There's education, you're lucky to get near it. The only way you're getting on it is if you're a lifer, and if you're like serving anywhere near 10 years or up, they have to do something with you. If you're under a 4-year sentence, you're not getting on anything. You're not getting any opportunities. So you'd be fighting for a job, trying to get on the halls or get a gym pass or get down to the kitchens, or get any sort of an opportunity. You'd be fighting. And a lot of the stuff went to the Glaswegians. So those who were, from the area, let's be honest, a lot of the stuff went to them. It was difficult to get involved. So a lot of it was 23-hour lockup. And then you got an hour in the yard. And the yards was, oh man, chaotic and tiny and violent.
Was there any sectarian issues between Catholic, Protestant, Irish, British? No.
No, right. But in saying that, the first question, and an Irishman, and I've spoken to a couple of Irish guys who've been into Berlin, and the first question you get asked, oh, Rangers or Celtic? And it's like, man, I couldn't care less. Dude, like, you take this far too much seriously. I couldn't give a shit. I don't even watch football. I have no interest. But, like, even at
They
that,
live they live and die by that in Glasgow. Like,
oh, live and die by it. Like it's more over there than it is over here. Like it's wild the way they behave and they carry on. But like I've seen guys been like all Rangers, all Celtic, and like, there's no madness, there's no clash, there's no gang activity, there's no violence. There's a bit of shouting when there's a match on, and there's a bit of
yeah,
slang
yeah,
and a
yeah.
bit of carrying on,
Bit of banter.
bit of banter, yeah. But like we're all there, kind of doing the same thing. No one was really. There's no violence due to
Yeah.
that. More violence due to substances, due to drugs, than there is to anything else, to be honest.
What kind of drugs is in the Scottish prisons then? Like, would it be like a spice thing, or would it be tablets?
Spice, heroin, huge. Spice, heroin, and they're the biggest. They are the biggest. Spice is massive. When I was in there, I was heavily addicted to spice at the end. So 2018, 2019, that broke my mind. Like it destroyed me. I was heavily addicted to it. I couldn't understand why I couldn't go without it, and it was coming in on the paper. Don't you know? It's that way of doing it, and yeah,
There was there was a few fellas taken to hospital out of Cork prison a few weeks ago because of paper that was spice was soaked into the paper. And I spoke to a fella there before I was speaking to you from London, and when he was in prison, 8 of the fellas in his prison died in 12 months because of spice. Now, what's it like? Is it like how do you describe the effects of it?
mind numbing, body shutdown. It's just they call it the
Is it
zombie
like
now.
is it like any other drug?
No, right. Actually, in saying that, right, it's the effect can be similar to heroin in large doses. So large doses of heroin, like so a tiny bit of spice paper, depending on the strength. So about that much, like a little bit, depending on the strength. If it's a strong piece of spice, that could be like it's like a heavy gouge, but you're shut down, you're gone. But it's not like so with heroin, you're kind of you've got a bit of awareness around you. You know what I mean? You're kind of slightly aware of your surroundings. With that stuff, you're not. You're gone. You're shut down. But it's also got that want that crack cocaine has. Like that. Like I was heavily addicted to crack for a long time, and that's the only thing that I can kind of connect it to. That when you're finished, when you come around, when you've had your smoke, and when you come around, you just want more. It's like, oh, I need more. I need more. And you don't need it. You just want it. It's that psychological pull to it. You just feel like you have to have more of it. So that would be the biggest similarity I would feel. That's the one thing I noticed with it. It was a more drug. It was a never ending. Just couldn't get enough of it. No matter what it was doing to you. Even the fact that it was crippling you. Like this created serious heartburn for me, like mad heartburn, stomach issues, um, pains in the back of the head on withdrawal. And like no matter you knew this was happening, like you knew this was to come, when this runs out, this is what's gonna happen at the end of the evening. But like it was bang, 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 bang. Oh no, it's all gone. Shit. Like it was, yeah, it was. So it's similar to like I know lads who've come off methadone smoking spice. You know what I mean? Like they've used, not that they've intentionally used spice to come off methadone, but they've smoked so much spice they've stopped going for the methadone. And this is outside. This is in Scotland outside. And then I know other lads who like just that's all they want. I've known two lads who came out of the prison and that's all they wanted to do. They didn't do anything else, just spice. They went looking for spice, cheap, cheerful.
And you, we all seen the videos of prisons in the UK where they're like zombies. And but how do people overdose from it? Like what happens? Like if you let's say if you overdose from heroin, you kind of the breathing goes so shallow and you stop breathing, or if you maybe if you're drinking alcohol and you drink too much alcohol, you can get alcohol poisoning and you can choke on your vomit. But what is it about spice? Do people get a heart attack? Do they? I remember when I was young going into the hospital because of ecstasy, and the heart was pounding. But I'd say it was more a fright I got than I was going to have a heart attack. You know what I mean? It was just immaturity. But like, what is it? What does it do to the body that actually can kill?
Shuts it down. Like it literally just shuts your body down, shuts your nervous system down.
It's like a
Like,
poison.
yeah, it's exactly what it is. It's a poison. Like, so I've heard of lads making the spice from alloy cleaner. You know what I mean? Using alloy cleaner to create this effect and putting that on the paper and bringing it in. So I know of one lad who had a brain aneurysm. That's what killed him. That killed him in his sleep, and that's just from continued use of it. It's how to explain. It's like a shock. It's like a continued shock to the system where you're just zombied. You're gone. And if you say you've got any underlying conditions that you didn't know about, you have a heart defect, you have a liver problem, you have a kidney problem, you have a bit of a brain problem or an injury or a clot, anything like that, what's going on, right?
Or a psychiatric, a mental illness or something like that as well.
Psychosis sitting there, or as it says, a psychiatric illness. If you've got schizophrenia and undiagnosed, if you've got lots, it can bring it on, and it does bring it on. And so I think that's got a lot to play with as well, especially with the heart issues. If you've got a heart issue that you didn't know about, this is just gonna like blow it up, like pretty much just bring it on tenfold. It's
And
I,
how 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 did yeah, it sounds fucking scary and horrible, you know, and but how did you manage to break that cycle of going in and out of prison for 15 odd years and addiction? Like what was the turning point for you?
so I went in and out of prison for about 20 years. I spent about, on paper, about 14 and a half years within a prison system, within multiple different prison systems. In 2019, I got out. I got out in January 2019. I had lost everything in my life, like everything. I was a wreck. My mental health was gone, deteriorated to the point. So I had a Garda check or a police check in Scotland, and I was so terrified of these checking me that I was hiding in my kitchen on the floor. You know what I mean? I'm a grown man. I think I was like 36 years of age, and I'm hiding in the kitchen. My mind had snapped. Like I tell people, there was people talk about rock bottoms and the will to change and the want to change. Like at that point, even at that, it wasn't a full change for me. But in 2019, January 2019, my mind snapped. Like I couldn't do it anymore. I had enough. I remember waking up on my 35th birthday in a cell in Berlin, and I was like, oh, here I go again, man. I can't do this. I was just inside. I just felt broken. I've been doing it since I was 18 years of age. He's like, I can't keep spending birthdays and Christmases in here. I need to do something about it. I got out in 2019 anyway, and I said it to my family. I says, listen, if I go back inside again, I'm done. I'm not coming back out. I says, I can't do it anymore. I don't have it in me. I'm broken. Now that, in saying that, I didn't change my behaviours. And from that feeling of being broken, and I truly believe it's the spice that like melted my mind. I couldn't hold conversations. I was socially incapable. I couldn't do the simplest things of cooking dinners, cleaning myself, getting breakfast. Like I was like a child who came back out from a system and didn't know what to do. You know what I mean? I was in the system. I was smoking a spice every day of the week. My food would be given to me. I'd be told when to shower. The door would be locked. It'd be opened. I'd be sent. You know what I mean? I'm told when you go to sleep. You're told when to get up. I'm told, right, you're eating now. I didn't have to make my own food. I'm told, right, go shower now. Right, you can have some fresh air now. I was so used to that when I didn't have that, I was like, fuck, what do I do now? Like, okay. And that really broke me. But then I went deeper into heroin. I went back. I was off the heroin for a fair while, and I went back on the heroin. I went back on the heroin, and then all of that feeling of been broken, been lost, all of it's gone. And my day consisted of get heroin, get heroin, get heroin, get heroin. Like wake up, get my heroin, you know. And it just that went on Went down for about another 2 years, but a lot of different things going on. But that was, I was done. Like, and if I went back into a prison system in at that point in that time, I would have taken my life. I couldn't do it. I was broken. I'm very lucky that I didn't go back in from 2019 to 2021 when I found recovery. I'm just, I suppose, by the grace of God or whatever powers to be, has kept me
Yeah.
on that point because I really was snapped. Like my mind had snapped.
And how did you get into recovery? Did somebody bring you to a meeting, or did somebody reach out to you, or what was how did that happen?
So in 2021, I was kind of going all around the UK. I was heavily addicted to crack cocaine, like heavily addicted. And I was making money by going around making it for different gangs and different organizations. So I was employed to come and make crack in the kitchens and do a lot. So I was scooping. I was like, yeah, yeah, I'll go in here and I'll just make it. You stay out there, scoop. And that destroyed me. And I was going from, so I went from Aberdeen down to Liverpool to Manchester to Norwich. And I ended up, anyway, making my way down to London. I basically travelled from one end of the UK to the bottom of the UK. By the time I got to London, I was so broken. I was like physically addicted to heroin, mentally addicted to crack cocaine. Started smoking crystal meth because the rest of it wasn't doing anything to me. I was taking all sorts of tablets because I just didn't want to be alive anymore. No one would work with me anymore. I was a liability. I couldn't get any sort of a graft. Couldn't do anything. Like I was shunned pretty much. Everyone was like, "No, man, you're broken. Like there's no use for you anymore, dude." So at that point, I was on the streets of London, homeless. So I went down to London. I was in an apartment in London, and I was doing a few bits with people who were like similar to myself, broken. You know what I mean? Broken. There was no use for us in criminality anymore. We were screwed. We became too dependent on our own stash, and there was a volatile situation in the apartment one night. Things kicked off. It got very dangerous. There was a lot of violence, and I managed to make it out. And I got out of there, and I left, and I ended up on the streets because of it, because I wasn't going back there. Um, it was too dangerous. Like I possibly would have lost my life if I went back. So I ended up on the streets. I ended up bouncing from hostel to hostel to hostel, and just doing whatever I could to get money together for like heroin, crack, crystal. I was selling. I was just literally any sort of a graft I could get involved in. I got involved in. And the whole way through this point, I had family in Ireland begging me to go into treatment, begging me to look, come into treatment, go to treatment, like even sending me like links to treatment centres and like links to different organisations, different recovery schemes. And sure, me being me, I still didn't have enough. I thought like, oh yeah, look, I'll keep doing it. I just kept on like pandering to them, going, oh yeah, yeah, I'm looking at it. Oh maybe, oh it's not that bad. Oh it isn't. And then I don't know what happened, but one night in London, I had enough, man. I was tired. I was mentally drained. My body was tired. I just couldn't do it anymore. It was December 2021. It was coming up to Christmas. I was sad. I was lonely. I was hurting. I was in a lot of pain. My life had caught up with me. Like genuinely, my life had caught up with me, and I just couldn't go on anymore. And I was lucky to get an opportunity to come to a treatment centre in Ireland. So I got a train from London to Liverpool to Holyhead, and I got a boat from Holyhead to Dublin Port, and I went into a treatment centre in Louth. Now, when I left London, like now, bearing in mind, I wouldn't go anywhere without substances, without something with me, whether it be cannabis, whether it be hash, whether it be a bit of weed, anything. No matter where I went, I had my something I needed. So I boarded the train in London, and I didn't take anything with me. I was like, right, I'm done. I'm done. Something inside of me says, don't get anything, don't do anything. I'm done. So on the train anyway, I was beginning, withdrawals were kicking in. And I said, oh, I need to do something here. Like I'm sick. Like I'm feeling really sick. So I got a couple, the great mind, got a couple of cans of Bulmers on the train. Like, oh, this will help me. Like, I'll be grand. You know what I mean? By the time I got to Holyhead, man, I was puking in the toilets constantly. The Bulmers didn't do me any favors at all. Like, it just didn't work out. Got onto the boat, just managed to get through on the boat. Got picked up from the boat. My family picked me up from the boat, and they were like, "Here, look, you're broken." I was about, I think, just under 9 stone at that stage. I was really, really sick. I got brought to a treatment
What
centre. Go on.
what age are you at this stage?
38. 38, 3 years ago. 4 years ago this Christmas. So I just gone 38. So it'll be 4 years this December. And
Mm.
I got into a treatment center in Loud, and I genuinely I fell in the door. Like I had no energy left in me, no will left in me, no will to live. If someone says, "Here's a tablet, take it and you'll be gone," I would have taken it. I had enough. I just couldn't do it. I got into the treatment center and I said to them, I said, "Listen, I need something. Like I'm sick." And they're like, "Yeah, you're gonna have to wait for the doctor." I was like, "No, man, you don't get it. Like I'm sick." And they saw me and they could see the state I was in, and like I was coming off crack, I was coming off benzos, I was coming off crystal heroin, like everything was just leaving my system, along with the trauma that I built up, along with the pain, along with that. I looked like someone on death's bed. So they rang the doctor, obviously explained the situation to the doctor, and the doctor passed it to give me a bit of codeine. So that was cool. I got the codeine, that settled me. I got about 40 milligram of codeine or something. Didn't take everything away, but it settled. If anything, to be honest, it probably settled my mind more than my body. I was like, "Oh, I got something.
Yeah.
I'm okay now. I got something." And yeah, which is, it's amazing, the anticipation. But so that was cool. I got in there, right? And it was 2021, it was COVID. So the next day they came up to me, all masked up, gowned up. They're like, "Yeah, you've just tested positive for COVID." I was like, "What are you on about? I tested before I came over to give you like a negative result." "Oh, you must have picked it up on the boat or the train." And he's like, "Okay, cool. So what do we do? Do I just isolate here now for 7 days?" They're like, "No, you got to leave." I was like, "What?" He's like for me to actually get this far, like you don't understand. Like this is instrumental. This is a monumental step for me here. Like, don't be sending me out. I don't know if I come back. I don't know if I'll be alive. Like, and they're like, "Oh no, your family are gonna come up and get you." I was like, "Here, I don't think you understand. I haven't been in my family home in nearly 20 years." He says, "Me and my family, as much as we do have a relationship of types, it's the relationship of like, we're here, you're over there. That's cool. You just do you. We'll do us, and we love you from a distance because you're just creating chaos." And they're like, "Oh no, they're willing to help you." I was like, "Okay, right, cool." So they came up. This was Christmas Eve, 2021. They came up, picked me up with a prescription for codeine and anticonvulsant tablets, and what else did I have? I had something else. And so they brought me back home. That was grand. Christmas Christmas Day, they were having Christmas dinner. Everything's grand. The mother shouts upstairs. I'm isolating in a bedroom up the stairs. The mother shouts up, "Oh, do you want a can with your dinner?" I was like, "Oh, this sounds interesting." I was like, and something inside of me, I don't know what it was, because it's not like me to refuse alcohol or to refuse anything at that point. I was like, "No, Mum, I can't. I'll be off out the door." And like my parents, blessed them, God bless them, you know what I mean? They're old Irish. They're like, "Ah, you're a drug addict. You're not an alcoholic. Like, you never really had a problem
They
with that."
don't understand. They don't
Not,
understand.
not a bit of them. Not a bit of them. Now, in fairness, at that point, I didn't fully understand either. I just knew if I had a can, I was gone. Like, I was off doing something else. Because like it kind of resonated with me. Every time I drank alcohol, I ended up in a prison system. Like that kind of told me there's a bit of an issue there. Like, there's something not right. Like I'm one of those people who can't go out and have a quiet drink. Violence occurs or car theft or something happens. Something often. So yeah, like they offered me and I just says no. And then I rigorously stuck to this detox, this codeine detox. Like genuinely to this day, I don't know what came over me. I something happened inside of me, like whether you want to call it a spiritual awakening or you want to call it a new lease of life. To me, I genuinely think I was just had enough. I was just broken. And I was willing to give anything else other than what I was doing, an opportunity, a chance, because what I was doing wasn't working and I didn't want to be alive. So like I just felt like, right, okay, what have I got to lose? Let's give something else a chance. Spent about 10 days at home on the detox and away from the COVID, tested negative and got back into the centre. And now in the center, this is where it gets interesting. In the center, after about 2 weeks, I'm getting settled, feeling good, put a bit of weight on, starting to look okay again, got no substances, my mind is clear. It's like, right, okay, I'm done. I can leave now. Yeah, I'm out of here. I've got a great idea. I'm gonna go back selling drugs because that's so because I'm so good at it. Like, you know what I mean? It's great. We'll go back out and get involved again because now I'm not taking drugs and I'm not addicted to anything. I'll be better this time and I do it all like, but I just won't take anything. And I was chatting to a recovery advocate up there, and he's like, "Yeah, man, who are you kidding? Like, you're gonna be out the door. You're gonna get involved, and you're gonna be right back to where you started." And I did a walk with this lad, and this lad told me about his story. He told me like his past, and it didn't add up to the guy I was chatting with, the happy guy with a smile on his face, energy, clean, like, you know what I mean, looking well, and him telling me about all the systems he's been in, all the hurt he'd gone through. all the criminality, all the pain, all the substances. I was like, man, this isn't adding up. And he's like, no, look, I'm telling you, this was my story. I was like, okay. I said, listen, I want what you have. Like, what do I do? And he's like, it's really, really simple. I was like, okay, cool. Yeah, simple. I like simple. Like, just change everything, everything. I was like, well, what do you mean? Change everything? He's like, yeah, just everything you're doing right now and everything you did to this point, just stop doing that and change it. Do the exact opposite. I was like, okay. And then like I got honest with him. I told him, like, listen, I'm in a situation here where I'm going to leave now. And you know what I mean? And he's like, look, it's just don't do that. You can't do that. And there was just something there that I was attracted to. There was just, I think it was the peace. I've never had peace of mind. I've never had that peace within my mind that I didn't want to escape from. I've always wanted to get away from myself. I could never sit with myself or sit with my emotions, sit with my feeling. I always just wanted to leave. And I could see that he had calm and that he had peace and he had understanding. And I was like, right, okay, I'm willing to give this an opportunity. So I spent 8 weeks in that treatment centre, and I got out and I did another 3 weeks in a secondary treatment centre. Wasn't for me, but it gave me a bit more of a grasp on recovery. And yeah, I hit the ground running and I changed everything about myself. I went back, I started studying, I went into a PLC, I did a social studies course, I went on to do a psychotherapy course, I did a year of that, found that it wasn't really for me, it was very clinical, it wasn't where I wanted to be, what I was looking to do in life. Went on to do recovery coach training. I did that with a crowd in America. I did it with another group in the UK. Got my qualification with that, so I'm a internationally recognised recovery coach professional. I have a whole ethical body that I'm adhere to. I have to every 2 years I have to reapply for my designation. I have to sit in front of a panel and go through all the situation again. And yeah, so I just kept on going from there, man. I'm just every day, just keep going, just keep going.
Yeah, so amazing, fucking eventful, wasn't it? It was an eventful life, to say the
Oh,
least.
man.
And I'd say that you could do a whole series there on stories along the way. But do you know, with regards to recovery coaching side of things, are you working for yourself? Like, is that are you doing one-to-one work? Is it?
Yeah, I do one-to-one work. I do group facilitation. I'll do workshops wherever needed. Like, so I'm a huge believer that no matter how far down things have gotten, no matter how bad it is, there's hope. And I will go anywhere I can to help people, to help spread hope, spread awareness, share a message of positivity. So I'll work one-to-one. I'll work with groups. I'll work with organizations. I'll work in any space that'll have me come in to work. I'm a global associate for the Recovery Coach Academy in the UK. So I bring and facilitate and help to facilitate their training to wherever it needs to be, to different organizations. I'm actually working on something. I can't really talk about it too much at the moment because it's kind of still in the pipeline and kind of I can't say anything till September. But we're working on bringing recovery coaches locally, regionally, and nationally. My goal, my vision, and I've held on to it for the last 2 years, and I will keep pushing forward with it no matter what, is to have recovery coaches locally, regionally, nationally, to have them in psychiatric units. So when people come in presenting with addiction issues and they're told go away, they have an option to chat to a recovery coach who has lived experience and has the training and the knowledge and can just have a conversation. Sometimes it just starts with a conversation, right? Okay, the person mightn't change their life there and then, but it can plant a seed. It can make someone reevaluate and reframe their thinking and maybe go, okay, hold on a minute, there might be more to it. Have them in spaces like justice settings, prison systems. Have people within the prison systems trained up, looking at bringing coaching towards them. They're like a mentor program, but more of a forward-focused, goal-orientated program. Yeah, and I've managed to get an opportunity where over the next couple of years, building this is a possibility now. It's becoming more real. I'm involved in something that is giving me an opportunity to bring this forward more and more and more. I'm involved in different training things, so I've just created a new webinar, a new training platform about the power of language, how we speak to ourselves and how we speak to others, and what it creates and what it constructs within our reality. So that's kicking off too. So like this is coming from a lad, right, who left school, got kicked out of school really after the junior cert, got booted around the place, was told you're going to do nothing, you're a criminal, you're a junkie, you're worthless, you're a waste of space, you're written off, forget about it, don't worry about it, you're not going to change. I'm a lad who did couple of subjects in the training unit, taught myself the subjects in the training unit to pass the time on my leaving cert. That's where I got 3 subjects of my leaving cert, the training unit. Like, I had nothing, no academic experience, no nothing, no hope, right? And I'm sitting here today, a professional recovery coach with my own business, working in working in spaces that wouldn't have looked at me before, chatting to people who wouldn't have spat on me when I was on the street. You know what I mean? And like, so this is this is a whole 180. Like, this just shows you that change is not only possible, but it's achievable. But it's look, it takes a bit of work too, though. I'm not gonna bullshit anyone and say, oh yeah, look, you can do it overnight. No, it doesn't. It takes consistent work. But as long as you keep showing up for yourself, it will happen. Like,
Absolutely. And you're still writing your story. Like, you're a few years in recovery now, and you're doing interesting stuff. That's the big thing for me. Is like, whatever I'm doing, it has to be interesting. Do you know what I mean? Whether I'm getting a lot of money for it or I'm getting nothing for it, it has to be interesting. So I think what you're doing is interesting. I think what you're doing is interesting anyway. With the recovery stuff, with the podcasting, and I think there's lots of opportunities going to come your way. There's lot you're gonna. The best thing about doing podcasting is meeting people and building a network. Do you know, like interviewing interesting people, then they'll suggest somebody else, and then before you know it, you know a lot of people, and then they're on interview panels when you're going for jobs, or you can pick up the phone to people, and it's just I think that's a good thing that you're getting into,
I
and I
just
think with the
sorry, just with you saying that, it's wild, right? Because with you saying that, the podcasting and the coaching has put me has put me in contact with my old probation officer from St. Patrick's Institution, right? Just so the recovery coaching, we ran this kind of it was called a LinkedIn challenge. So a good few coaches of us around the world. So my coaching is international. We've got a whole group of us together who come together from Dubai to Qatar to Scotland to Ireland to Sweden. A load of us come together, right? So a load of us put together. We weren't very active on LinkedIn. We says, right, we'll do a LinkedIn challenge. And part of this challenge, anyway, was to connect with like 10 people over a period of time. So I went on LinkedIn, me going, connect, 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 connect. Wasn't even looking at who I was connecting with, just pressing connect to get this challenge done, tick the box. And I got a message through on LinkedIn, like, oh, Peter, lovely to see you're doing great. Oh, well done. I was like, who the fuck's this? Like, so I clicked into the message and I was like, it's my old probation officer from St. Pat's from back in 2002 who remembered me. Right. And
um,
from that, I've connected in with her. I've had multiple conversations with her. And she's now coming on our podcast to talk about everything, like to talk about her work as a probation officer, work within restorative justice, the stuff she's involved in. Man, that would never have happened if I wasn't involved in this space. But just shows you the turnaround that the 23 years can bring. It's mad. It's wild.
yeah, but having the courage to put yourself out there as well, and having the balls to do it, and not everybody can do it or would do it. Not everybody should do it, but I think putting yourself out there is a difficult thing to do because you leave yourself open to great things like that, connecting with people, but you'll also leave yourself vulnerable to people that don't really like people like us. And that's just something that you have to deal with along the way. There's not a lot of it. Think Ireland is moving on. People are more understanding as to who is in prison, who is in drug treatment centres. It's not like there's a report on in Cork recently where we looked at court reports and they found it was nothing that we didn't know, but it was just stuff that it's just proof now. So they went through the court reports for over 5 years from 2020 to 2025, and it just showed 1 in 4 people in prison was homeless. Most of the people in prison are from council estates, poor people, so most of them are addicted to drugs in prison, in Cork prison, and young fellas or men from certain areas of Cork City where I'm from were getting higher sentences compared to fellas from more affluent areas. So a lot of the stuff we kind of understood ourselves with to see it in black and white, but I think people now understand that the people in prison, it's not black and white that the bad people are inside and the good people are outside,
Far
and
from
that
it.
there's a lot of there's a whole grey area there of people made bad decisions and they ended up in prison, but all they had was a whole list of bad decisions to choose from, born into situations where they had no control, where they had no like your their card was marked for them from a very early age, and that's why when you're doing the podcast, then you can show people that yeah, this person was in prison, this person used drugs, but look at the person they are today. And look at the work they've done in the meantime. That's the real person. That's the platform you will give people.
There's like you talked there about the people in prison and people not. There's people that aren't in prison that should be in prison, right? Let's be honest, right?
They're in the dial, half of them.
I won't comment on that, but they're everywhere, right? They're everywhere. They should be in. But look, as we've learned and as we know, and I'm involved, and I think you're involved in it as well, trauma talks that's coming. What we've
I interviewed Tony Crow, who's involved in it, and I
yeah.
interviewed Fritzy Horseman, the
Oh
lady
wow.
that leads it, but
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
not
yeah.
involved in it myself.
Ah, okay, right. So I'm involved in that. I'm going to be training up as a facilitator for it coming. And with this, we've learned that, well, we knew it already anyway. And as you said, and you just described it there, prison systems are a population of traumatized people who are going into a system to re-traumatize them, and then like the system re-traumatizes them and expects them to rehabilitate on release. It's like, but where's the help? What are you doing to help us? Like, I was in a prison system in Scotland where the screw came over to me and says, oh, like, so cameras were just introduced, right? And he comes over to me and he says, oh, yeah, see that there? Now that's going to save your life. I was like, what? He's like, yeah, that's going in there for your safety, not ours. And I was like, yeah, sure, I know that. You know what I mean? I just watched you throw a lad off the banister. Like, fuck it, I know this. So, like, we were traumatized people heading into a system to get re-traumatized by people who were pissed off, annoyed, angry, and bullied, right? And then taking it out on different aspects and different people for whatever reason, right? That's their own stuff. And then expected to leave a system and rebuild their lives and adhere to rules and like understanding and get employment with a conviction that we're still getting punished for it, even though we've done a sentence for it already, but we still get re-punished for it because we did this crime. Sometimes not even a horrific crime. Like, let's be honest, robbing a car, okay, it's a bad thing and you've taken someone's piece of property. I get it. I don't condone it, but like, why am I getting repunished over and over again? Why is my opportunities of getting employment out the window because I stole a car when I was 19 years of age? You know what I mean? And like, I've went through a lot of different things before that happened for me to go in there. And then I went into a system that I was a young man, 18 years of age, fucking traumatized me again, locked me up and institutionalized me, put me in a place and in a mindset that I already thought I was no good and I couldn't do anything and employment is out the window for me. So, what'll I do? Well, I go into the drugs trade. And that's multiple stories throughout Ireland and the world, like, if we're honest. So, like, I love to see that things are starting to change in this space, that there is more opportunities and there are people out there that are doing more and more things to encourage change, speak up about change, and bring positive change. But like, change comes in loads of different ways, right? And I see lots of change. I see lots of initiatives that are ticking boxes and they're going, yeah, we'll put money into this space and we'll get this amount of numbers. And yeah, right, we've done all that. Okay. And that's it. It's changed something for a month, maybe 2 months. And it's given someone a piece of paper to bring to another system and go, there, look, we've did this. This is great, isn't it? It's like, no, it's not. Then there's other people who are creating impactful, long-lasting change that are going to help and change people's lives. That's what I'm interested in. And a lot of the time, the people who are doing that are the unspoken and unseen heroes behind the scenes who aren't getting the recognition, aren't getting the funding, aren't getting the organisations that should be backing them, aren't getting the spaces to be heard, to be seen, to be understood, to bring across systemic change rather than just pockets of impactful, long-lasting change. Like, I've seen people completely change their lives with the right support, with the right help, with the right mentorship, with the right guidance. It's possible. I've seen it. I've watched it. I'm one of them. You know what I mean? And if we manage to do this on a grand scale, like bring this systemically into a system and say, right, look, our system is supposed to be about rehabilitation, right? Our system is supposed to be about rehabilitation, not punishment. I'm yet to see that. And I've spent 14 and a half years in the system. I haven't found a system that is genuinely rehabilitating anything or anyone. And look, that's just how it is at the moment. And like, I do see there's change in it. But if we can get every service that are in these spaces to work together, not compete, not try and go, we do this and you do that, so we're not going doing anything together. Like, fuck that, man. Come together, bring it all together in a central space. It can create systemic change, long-lasting change. Like, do people not understand that, like, the amount of money that I cost to governments by going in and out continuously, if someone just stopped helped me, looked at me, talked to me, seen me as a person, not a problem, seen me as a person with a problem, not a problem. You know what I mean? And just said, right, okay, look, what the fuck do you need? Like, we're seeing you coming through these gates continuously, year in, year out. Like, you've just done a 2-year sentence. You went out for 3 weeks and you're fucking back in on remand. Like, what's going on? Like, yeah, well, I've got a serious drug problem and I really need to address it, but no one's really coming to talk to me about it. Instead, I'm just getting hit with remand after remand, sentence after sentence. And let's be honest, while I'm in here, I'm making connections to go and get more drugs when I get out. Like, that's kind of how it went. So if we can get everything to come together, sorry, go on ahead, I was going to interrupt you there.
No, no, finish your point.
No, just if we can get everything to come together, the services that have the change, that have the resources, that have the ability to bring this stuff to the people, get them to come together, get them to get a coalition made where it's like a unity is created within it. We can create systemic change. We can bring rehabilitation into a system that talks about rehabilitation but creates punishment and creates trauma.
Yeah, but I think you're a great candidate for the trauma talks from what I know about it. I think you'll be perfect for it. It'll be a nice addition to your other training with recovery coaching and yeah, you did in the psychotherapy, all these things are just forming a better professional, you know. And I think with your lived experience and your qualifications, now you're perfect for that type of work. For now, you might change down the line and you might do something else, but for now, in that space with the podcast, with the recovery coaching, doing the trauma talks, I think is you're going to be a great benefit for people. And I'll let you go now, but if people want to tune into your podcast, where do they go and what's it called?
So the podcast is called Having the Chats with Peter and Sophia. And they can get it on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, YouTube, anywhere you can get anywhere there's a podcast or hosts a podcast, you can get us. You can catch me on Instagram, you can catch the podcast on Instagram. Any social aspect or social media, we're all over it. We're pushing it out as much as we can. But listen to it on YouTube, Spotify, Amazon, Apple, any of these places. You'll be able to get it all.